and you were just staring at a text message you started typing like 20 minutes ago.
Oh, that is the worst feeling.
Right. You are desperately trying to figure out how to back out of a plan for tomorrow without sounding like, I don't know, an absolute monster.
Yeah.
And the cursor's just blinking at you. I mean, we have all been there. So welcome to today's deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Our mission today is mastering the hidden scripts of our daily lives. We're looking at the mechanics behind how we manage, the intense pressure of overwhelming social obligations. And then, and this is the fun part, how we handle the late-night racing thoughts that almost inevitably follow them.
Yeah, I mean, it is such a universal human experience to dread that blinking cursor. But we rarely stop to actually analyze the psychological weight of those everyday digital interactions. We just kind of feel the anxiety to try to power through it,
Exactly. We just sweat it out. And to figure out how to navigate that anxiety, we are pulling from a surprisingly brilliant source today.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, we're looking at materials from a conversational English learning series on YouTube. It's called Speak English with Class, and it features two instructors, Anna and Jake.
Right.
And on the surface, this is meant to teach English vocabulary to language learners, right?
Right.
But in the process of breaking down everyday conversations, they accidentally deliver this incredibly sharp masterclass in modern psychology, social etiquette, and setting boundaries.
Yeah, because by deconstructing the literal words we use in uncomfortable situations, this material ends up exposing the underlying social mechanics. It takes the behaviors we do on autopilot and forces us to look at the why behind them, which is incredibly revealing about how we handle social friction.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Why?
We have to start with the anatomy of a polite cancellation, or I guess what we might call setting external boundaries.
Right.
The material kicks off with this hilarious, almost painful anecdote. One of the instructors, Jake, confesses that he is historically just the worst person to make plans with.
He really threw himself under the bus there.
He did. He once canceled his own birthday dinner, and his reason, he was just, quote, tired. So he sent a text that essentially said, can't make it. Sorry. Done.
Which is, I mean, that is the definition of blunt force trauma in text form.
Yeah. Ouch.
And it really highlights a critical distinction between being direct and being abrupt. Because Jake argues that his text is efficient, and strictly speaking, I mean, it is. It communicates the necessary data.
Yeah, the data is there. I am not coming.
Exactly. But in human interaction, efficiency often registers as hostility. People expect a level of what sociologists might call cushioning. It's a social shock absorber.
I hear what you're saying about needing a shock absorber, totally. But honestly, isn't it possible to go, like, way too far the other way?
Oh, for sure.
Because think about it, like wrapping a tiny, fragile object in, 10 layers of thick bubble wrap. You get a text that says, I am so incredibly sorry to do this. I feel absolutely terrible. I've been thinking about it all day. I really don't want to be that person. But unfortunately, I might possibly not be able to make it tonight.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Right. You hand someone a box with so much bubble wrap, they can't even find the actual message inside. It makes me feel like I have to comfort them for canceling on me. It's just exhausting.
Well, yeah, because you're conflating warmth with emotional dumping.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
The goal isn't to make your anxiety the other person's problem. When you over-cushion like that, you are prioritizing your own guilt over the other person's clarity. You're trying to manage your fear of being disliked rather than just respecting their time.
Wow. Yeah.
The cushioning we are talking about is almost mathematical in its balance. It's about delivering the cancellation with enough warmth so the other person doesn't feel unimportant, but without making them do emotional labor for you. Like, disappearing is rude. Canceling without care is rude, but canceling cleanly, that's a life skill.
Yeah, the other person shouldn't need a detective board with red string and push pins just to figure out if you are actually showing up to dinner.
Exactly.
So how do we actually strike that balance without over-apologizing?
Well, we can synthesize this from the sources into a very practical 3-part golden rule for clear, warm cancellations.
Okay, I'm taking notes mentally here.
First, you need a soft opener. It's an apology that shows regret without being melodramatic. Something simple like, I hate to do this, but...
Oh, I like that. It
Yeah.
sets the tone perfectly. It tells the recipient, I'm about to deliver bad news, and I am not thrilled about it either.
Right. You're on the same team. Step 2 is providing a vague but polite reason. You do not need to send your autobiography or, like, a medical chart.
Please don't.
Yeah, you just need to offer a rationale.
The phrase "something's come up" gets highlighted here by Anna and Jake, and honestly, that phrase does incredible heavy lifting in the English language.
It really does.
Because "something's come up" can cover a literal sirens blaring medical emergency, or it can cover the fact that I looked at my sofa and my sofa looked back at me, and we decided we are not parting ways tonight.
Yes.
It just respects everyone's privacy.
Well, and the underlying mechanism there is a mutual social contract.
Yeah.
Something's come up works because society implicitly agrees not to demand a full audit of your time.
Right. We just accept it.
It creates a boundary that most people understand not to cross. And that brings us to the third part of the rule, which is arguably the most crucial for maintaining the relationship. And that's offering a next step. You have to signal that the relationship is still valuable to you by offering a rain check.
That's a phrase we throw around all the time, a rain check, but where does that actually come from? I feel like we use it without thinking.
It actually originates from baseball. Historically, if a game got rained out, the stadium would give you a literal paper ticket, a rain check, to come back and see a game on another day.
Oh, wow, that's fascinating. And that history perfectly captures the psychological intent, right?
Yeah.
Because a rain check says, I still want to see you. I am not rejecting you. I am rejecting the timing. It protects the other person from feeling, pushed aside, especially if they have already made an emotional investment in seeing you.
Exactly. It shifts the focus from the cancellation itself to a future connection.
Okay, so it's one thing to manage the guilt of canceling on one person, but the social stakes multiply exponentially when you do it in front of an audience.
Oh, big time.
So how does this cushioning apply when we move from a private text to the high-stakes war zone of a modern group chat?
The psychology changes completely because of visibility. In a one-on-one text, things get awkward just between the two of you. But in a group chat, your absence and the specific way you handle it is witnessed by everyone.
Right. It's a stage.
And evolutionarily, human beings are wired to panic when our standing in a group is threatened. Being ostracized from the tribe used to mean literal death, which is why group chat visibility spikes our anxiety so severely today.
And if you just stop responding, they are absolutely going to talk about you while you're still in the chat. Has anyone heard from him? Read at 2:47 p.m., no response. I mean, it is brutal.
It is. So the etiquette required for the group chat environment relies on keeping it light and short. You don't want to bring down the vibe of the group's collective excitement.
Yeah, you don't want to be the rain cloud.
Exactly.
Yep.
So saying something like, I'm going to have to sit this one out, have so much fun, tell me everything after, accomplishes this perfectly.
That's good.
It's casual, it's softer than a blunt, I'm not coming, and asking them to tell you about it afterward proves you are still socially invested in the group's dynamic.
But there is a specific type of person in these chats. You know the type.
I think I do.
The person who is clearly online, reading every single message, watching the plans finalize, but just lacks the courage to actually speak up and bow out.
Oh yeah, we call that the social ghost.
The social ghost.
It's a total failure of communication. A ghost has Wi-Fi, but no courage. And you're actually causing more social friction by hovering in silence than you would by simply bowing out.
That makes total sense.
But then on the flip side of that, you have the people who overcompensate with digital emotion.
Oh, no.
If you are backing out of a casual dinner, you should not be sending 12 crying emojis. Excessive emojis make people question your sincerity. It feels performative, almost manipulative.
Which brings up a genuine frustration I have about last-minute cancellations. When someone has to cancel just a couple of hours before a plan, they often apologize for the short notice and then throw in, I'll make it up to you.
Ah, yes.
Let's be real. That phrase is almost always an empty emotional promise. It feels like verbal decoration that people use to alleviate their own guilt right before they completely disappear into the social mist.
What's fascinating here is that sincerity is the ultimate social currency. And you are so right that people often spend it recklessly. The phrase, I'll make it up to you, is inherently a promise of a future transaction.
Right.
So the analytical takeaway from the source here is that you should only use that phrase if you are actually willing to pay the coffee penalty.
The coffee penalty. That sounds like a fine you get for spilling a latte.
I know, it sounds funny. But it's essentially collateral. It means taking a tangible, concrete action to reschedule. If you say you will make it up to someone, you have to follow through.
So you can't just say it and run.
No. Send a message the next day, suggest a specific date, buy the coffee. If you use the phrase as an empty decoration just to escape an awkward text exchange, you erode trust over time.
Wow.
The relationship takes a hit, not because you canceled, but because your word lost its value.
That framing changes everything. It's not about the cancellation itself. It's about the integrity of the follow-through. Okay, so let's move along our relatable timeline. Let's say you successfully navigated the group chat. You paid your coffee penalty in advance by suggesting next Tuesday. You've cleared the social friction.
Job well done.
Right. You're finally in bed, the lights are off, the house is quiet, and suddenly your brain decides that right now is the absolute perfect time to review every single embarrassing thing you have said or done since 2009.
It never fails.
We have shifted from needing to set boundaries with our friends to desperately needing to set boundaries with our own minds.
And this is where we have to ask a fundamental neurological question. Why does the mind become so incredibly loud exactly at the moment we want to shut down?
Right, because during the day, I might actually have time to think about renewing my passport, but my brain doesn't mention it. It waits until 11:30 p.m. when I am horizontal.
Well, the psychological insight here is about environmental contrast and processing time.
Okay.
Think about your average day. You are constantly bombarded with noise. Emails, traffic, podcasts, conversations, just constant visual stimulation.
Yeah, nonstop.
Your brain is in a state of continuous reaction and survival. It does not get a single quiet moment to just sort through the backlog of thoughts. So at night, when everything finally stops and the external stimuli drop to zero, your worries realize they finally have a captive audience. They finally get the microphone.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. It's almost like your late-night brain is this extremely anxious security guard who works in your building.
Oh, I like this.
Right. He's been trying to hand you an urgent incident report all day long, but you kept walking past his desk, looking at your phone, totally ignoring him because you were busy.
Yeah.
So the absolute second you lie down and turn off the lights, he kicks down your bedroom door shouting, "We have unread emails, we've expired passports." Also, remember that weird thing you said in a job interview 6 years ago?
That is exactly it. The security guard is just doing his job. He wants to keep you safe and prepared. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it is deeply reassuring to realize that your brain isn't uniquely broken when this happens.
That is a relief.
You aren't experiencing this because you are flawed. You are experiencing this because your brain is simply responding to the first quiet room it has been in all day. It's trying to catch up on administrative work that you ignored.
Knowing that it's a structural problem of modern life and not a personal defect honestly takes half the anxiety away. But, I mean, I still have a security guard shouting in my bedroom.
Fair point.
I can't just forcefully shut my brain off when I'm lying there, so what am I actually supposed to do? Because my default reflex, and I think most people's reflex, is to immediately reach back for the glowing phone.
Reaching for the phone is a massive danger zone. We have to draw a very sharp line between watching a quick, light 10-second video to chuckle and falling into what is clinically referred to as doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling, the absolute bane of modern sleep. But what is actually happening in the brain when we do that?
Doom scrolling is the act of feeding your brain chaos, negative news, political arguments, and global problems right at the exact moment it's supposed to be winding down.
Right, which makes no sense.
Exactly. When you do this, you activate your sympathetic nervous system. You are essentially telling your amygdala, which is the threat center of your brain, stay awake. There are predators everywhere.
Wow. So your brain literally thinks you're in danger.
Yes. You flood your system with cortisol. So the new bedtime philosophy we need to adopt is stark. No chaos before sleep.
No chaos before sleep. I feel like I should get that tattooed on my hand so I see it when I reach for my phone.
Not a bad idea.
So if doom scrolling just dumps cortisol into my system, how do I get the anxious security guard to actually leave the room?
The most practical tool we can extract from the sources here involves a concept called cognitive offloading, often referred to more casually as the brain dump.
A brain dump. It sounds a bit messy.
It is supposed to be messy.
Yeah.
A brain dump is the act of writing down a completely unfiltered list of whatever's running through your head on a physical piece of paper.
Okay.
The key is that it doesn't have to be a beautiful gratitude journal.
Yeah.
It doesn't need perfect grammar. It can be an angry list. It can be a chaotic worry list.
Just literally writing, buy milk, stop thinking about 2009, why is my pillow weird?
Precisely. Because by physically writing those things down on paper, you are achieving something vital. You are offloading the data from your working memory.
Oh, I see.
There is a psychological principle called the Zeigarnik effect, which states that people remember uncompleted tasks much better than completed ones.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Right. Your brain keeps repeating the worries because it is terrified you will forget them. When you write them down, you are completing the loop. You are signaling to your brain the information